Hi. So today I am talking all about consumption. And I'm not referring to the stuff that you eat off your plate, I'm referring to what you absorb throughout the day, what you look at, what engages your interest, what you pay attention to. And I'm going to kick off talking about social media because it's a really big one. And social media is ubiquitous. I mean, we can't really avoid it at this stage. However, we can learn to use it at a reasonable level. We can learn to use it wisely. I mean, ultimately, we can look at social media and reflect very negatively on our own lives. Or, we can look at stuff and content that is extremely helpful that guides us along the way. But bear in mind, there's a very thin line between thinking that you're looking at something that is inspirational and setting yourself up with expectations that are unattainable. I mean, oftentimes we look at people's lives and we're like, okay, mine is so inadequate unless I have X, Y, and Z. And these things may not be realistic. They may not be attainable in the lifestyle or the location or whatever it is that we're living in. And bear in mind that we're always looking at somebody's highlight reel. You're seldom looking at somebody's reality. And when we look at other people and we see how happy they are and we see all the good photos and the flattering photos, it is easy to look at your own life and feel like, oh God, things are a little bit flat. But I guarantee you, everyone is experiencing their own peaks and troughs. I mean, that is life. So it's about being able to take it with a pinch of salt and being very skeptical with who you actually follow. So be very selective. Kind of look at who inspires you, look at the informative pages. I mean, literally trying to adopt a life of lifelong learning is so important, but you're not going to learn a whole lot looking at certain content where there's a lot of content there that is educational, that will give you benefit. So again, it's about using it wisely. Also, set limits on the amount of time you spend on social media. Have you ever gone on to check Facebook and the next thing you're on Instagram and the next thing you're on Twitter and the next thing you're on Snapchat, then you're back to Facebook again, and all of a sudden an hour is gone and you have done nothing productive, and then you feel guilty, then you feel anxious, then you eat some food and you go back onto Facebook, and it's this vicious cycle. So that's the way the apps are designed, and I suppose even just realizing that should help you be a little bit more mindful. Now, what you can do is set limits on your apps, so you can give yourself personal usage limits of maybe 15 minutes for each app, so that at least you have just the 1 hour a day as opposed to spending hours and hours. But bear in mind as well, even 1 hour a day is 1 hour less that you are doing something productive, worthwhile, connecting with other people, exploring who you are. I think oftentimes as well our phones give us a medium for avoidance. I mean, basically, rather than kind of dealing with any uncomfortable feelings or dealing with any conflict in our lives, we're just like, oh, I'll just dive into my phone, and kind of it's nearly the equivalent of the ostrich with the head in the sand. And I mean, that's great, but I mean, at some stage you're going to have to deal with things. You're going to have to learn to move through the difficult feelings and to resolve them. Otherwise, as I said, you'll stagnate in life and you'll wonder why. So it's about being very cautious with what you use your phone for. I mean, it's grand, as I said, entertaining yourself every evening, but do you find that you go home and that's all you do for the evening, even when your family are around you or your partner is around you? So as I said, have limits so that at least you're in control of it as opposed to it being in control of you, and be very cautious about the content that you follow. Is it helpful or is it intimidating? Now, the next thing I'm going to look at is just our screen time in general. And we tend to feel like our reward after a tough day should be just numbing and zoning out in front of whatever it is on Netflix. And again, people, talk about kind of feeling a certain amount of dissatisfaction with their lives. They may not be happy with their jobs, and life becomes nearly a drudgery. It becomes so monotonous, and people feel like as if, well, this is just it. But ultimately, if you are spending all of your free time doing something that is completely non-productive, then things are never going to change for you. I mean, your evening times are filled with possibility, filled with opportunities to discover more about yourself, to become curious about the world around you, to try out new things, to, meet new people, to connect more with your family, with your kids. And yet, as I said, we can let those hours just pass, just watching one thing after another. And it's not a very productive way to live. Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't watch TV, but just be very conscious of how you spend your time. And if you feel that you would like your life to feel a little bit more purposeful, well, then take the relevant steps. Explore things that you can do that are different, that take you out of your comfort zone, and that are going to make you feel like you spent your time well. That being said, I'd seen somewhere the other day that time that you enjoyed wasting is not wasted time. So again, it's about kind of weighing up, okay, do I feel happy about where my life is? I mean, if you're content to sit in front of Netflix every evening, well, so be it. But if you feel that there needs to be more to life, well, at some stage you're going to have to turn off the screen and get out there and do something about it. Likewise, when it comes to the company that you keep, I mean, the people that surround you will either inspire you or they will bring you down. And it's not necessarily the case that, people are bad. It's just that maybe you're a bad match. I mean, ultimately, people need to look firstly at whether or not your values, your beliefs, who your authentic self is, aligns. And oftentimes we tend to look at more superficial things. We look at, kind of hobbies. We look at what a person looks like. We kind of navigate towards people who we think are cool, or and oftentimes we're not spending enough time with the right people who will I suppose reflect what it is that we want to achieve in life, and who will challenge us, who will kind of make us step up to the person it is that we want to become. Now, it's not always easy to select the people who you spend time with. I mean, ultimately when we go to work, or we have kind of blood family members that oftentimes may not reflect what it is that we want for our lives. However, it's about limiting the impact that those people have on you. Kind of, if you find that your workplace people are always gossiping, that doesn't mean you have to jump in and partake. And I think it's our nature to want to be part of the crowd, and it's our nature to want to be accepted. So it takes a real strength to be able to take a step back from that and say, do you know what, that's not me, that's not, because ultimately when you're gossiping, when you're kind of drawn to the negative stuff, I mean, you're not leaving any room for the positive stuff. And I don't believe in positive thinking, but I do believe that you have to pay attention to positive things in order to move in a more positive direction, and it's about continuously taking conscious action, continuously being self-aware, continuously looking for ways in which you can improve your life. I mean, literally, we have one life, we have one attempt at this, and you can spend half of it looking at videos of cats or whatever it is that you find entertaining on your screen, or you can find out more about yourself, you can find out more about the world around you, you can push your capabilities and abilities, you can push your skills, and you can find a whole new way of living. So if this is something you'd like to work with me on, get in touch with me on my website, fundamentals.ie, and you will also catch me on Instagram and Facebook. Both of those pages are called Fundamentals. I do lots of regular content just like this on my YouTube channel, which is Fiona Feely. So go check it out, like, share and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Have a great day.